So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your company?
Sure. Patrick Murphy with Brandthunder. Brandthunder creates these branded environments for brands all around the world, all the way from sports franchises from the Indianapolis Colts to we have European football teams. What we do is basically take a brand's presence and content and actually integrate it within the browser itself. So at the end of the day, these brands are creating these phenomenal destination websites, but they're hoping their fans actually come to their site. Fans are usually consuming content everywhere but their site. So what we do is actually take content from these brands, integrate it right into the browser. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where their fan is on the web because they're connected to that brand via their browser. So there's nothing like the browser in terms of persistency. So we focused on the browser for our initial product.
One thing I've been dying to ask you since I checked out your website was what is your business model? I mean, how are you guys generating revenue?
Well, I'll give you the first story. This is one of the lessons we learned is flexibility in your business model. So we started, like I said, about 2 years ago. Our first client was the NHL team out of D.C., the Capitals. And the business model up there was just almost an agency model. Pay us, $10,000. We build out your browser, we distribute it, and you get lots of traffic coming back to your site, and you get presence and top of mind with all your fan base. It was great. We launched. I was still employed full time with someone else at the time. Kind of did this on the side. We launched, and success. Tons of downloads. Fans loved it. Our client at the NHL loved it. So I went to a local team here in town, another NHL club, and basically here's the model, and they can't write checks. They barter everything. So our model from this agency of getting a nice big check up front, we had to get our reliance off of that initial money because a lot of these sports franchises especially do not have the funds to do that, especially for social media and new types of engagement tools. So we had to find ways to make nickels and dimes on the back end. So that's our model. Today, we approach, again, brands ranging from news to blogs, to gaming, movies, television, etc. And we have a small upfront fee just to kind of get them engaged. If it's a free product, sometimes they treat it free. But what happens is we have search deals in place with Bing and Ask. So when you download our tool, we switch your search engine. You can always switch back to your favorite engine. We don't lock you in, but the majority of people will just stay with that engine. And what happens is every time you do a search, let's say you're using the Columbus Crew browser, every time you do a search via our search partner, we make nickels and dimes there. So again, it makes it much easier for the brands. They do not have to write that big check up front, but yet we get the recurring revenue, which is great because I have the same cost to build that product, be it 1 download or 10,000 downloads. And what happens, we just have more and more people searching. Nickels and dimes come rolling in. So in addition to search revenue, we have e-commerce. So almost all of our partners have some e-commerce element, be it you want to buy a jersey, tickets to a game, download a song. So we have affiliate relationships there, as well as advertising plays.
And you build all those products or upsells into the browser experience?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you think of the standard, back in the day it was the toolbar, had that persistent nature kind of bolted onto the browser. We've gone above that, literally above it, because I think emotionally people are connected to brands, be it their favorite musical artist, their favorite school, etc. So it's that visual element that really draws people in, but then we bring in the elements of a toolbar environment from links back to the site, RSS feeds, Twitter baked in, Facebook news built in, alerts. So it's not only a pretty looking browser, but also there's functionality there as well. So.
That's great. How long have you guys been around? When did you?
2+ years. Again, I started this while I was working with another employer, kind of at lunch in the phone, making phone calls out in the car. But that's probably the biggest thing I could share with the audience is, proving that idea. But it's all about sales. Get someone to sell. Get someone to buy it. If you can get that idea outside, someone actually writes you a check for it. You can start to really focus on this, because at the end of the day it's all about the sales and marketing. I mean, I sell 24/7. You're selling people to join your team. That you're one guy working in a small office or out of home. You got to sell someone on the concept and the passion of it. You're selling investors. You're selling potential clients. My wife, I'm married. I had to sell her on the concept. So you're selling 24/7. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice is if you're not a salesperson, get someone on your team that is, because you're selling all day.
Yeah, so. And there are a couple different things that you mentioned in there that I want to take and separate out a little bit.
Okay.
Going from working for someone else to your own company, can you describe that process a little bit?
Yeah, luckily my roles in the past, working for someone else, I've been within these kind of entrepreneurial groups, even within a large bank or a large internet company. It's been in a very entrepreneurial field where I could build the team, the business model, and prove it out. Making that transition was a little bit easier for me, just because I have been doing that for about 15 years. But no, it's a challenge, because at the end of the day, I still had I didn't have to deal with a lot of the shared services within a big corporation, legal, HR. Now I got to deal with that. I'm working on leases in the morning for our office space, and working on product decisions, marketing decisions, financial forecasts. So yeah, I've dabbled in all that a little bit, but here it's, you're switching hats all day. Yeah. Now as we grow, we can kind of slice off and get someone dedicated towards that. But for the first couple years up till now, you're touching a lot of different things. So my corporate background actually helped me a ton, because I got to play in those areas and at least get some extra expertise, but also the contacts locally. Who can I sit down with that just help me work through a financial forecast, or how do I look at this lease and what are the benefits of this? So
yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel ill-equipped for a lot of tasks. How important, like you just said, is it to have, whether it be friends or some type of a connection that can work through a problem with you? Because obviously, you don't know every aspect of starting a business up if it's your first company.
Exactly.
I don't know if this is your first company, but a lot of the people, on our site, it's going to be, maybe their first company, and, they don't know everything, and it's possible too, I think. Anyway.
And nothing's wrong with that. I mean, I think a lot of entrepreneurs go in going, I've got to know it all, because if I show any weakness, investors, potential customers, clients are just going to. And I think honesty has been on our, we've been honest with everyone up front. Hey, I've never even looked at this agreement. Let's really go through this, understand this. Lots of lunches. Again, coming up through corporate, the corporate side, I met the lawyers, I met the financial guys, take them out to lunch, and I have found that people just love to help, especially if it gets them outside their cube for a little bit. They love to help, and they love to see someone taking off with passion and excitement around an idea. And I found more and more networks online, communities. Actually, here in Columbus, there's a great community around just helping in here at the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center, where we're located. I think at least once, twice a week, there's get-togethers and meetups with different topics, from marketing to legal to sales, operations, etc. So I take advantage of all that. And that, that's another big piece of advice, is listen. Keep your ears open, stay open to new ideas, and get ready to take people out to lunch a lot. So,
and then what I'm sure everybody really wants to know is, in the transition of starting your business on your own, maybe while you're working for somebody else, in the vein of selling all the time, how did you sell to investors, or have you yet?
Yeah, so we built this story. It was fun. I had my PowerPoint together, 30 slides, text everywhere. And again, here in Columbus, there's another resource called Tech Columbus, which brings together an incubator, but also help to startups. So I'm sure there's similar items in similar groups in large cities, but they actually walked through my presentation with me and helped me tell the story. If you think about it, the investors we went after, we focused on angel groups initially, here in Columbus, Ohio, as well as in Cleveland, Ohio. And typical age in the room, 50-year-old. Maybe they're not on the internet all day. Twitter, they may have heard about it. Facebook, they may have heard about it. So you just have to tell a good story, a very compelling story. And again, having the sales behind us to show people are writing us checks. We're getting distribution. Here's how the model works, but breaking it down to just a simple story, getting them engaged. That made our pitch that much easier. You're just talking to another person. Don't wow them with your technology. None of my pitches for we've raised over, I think, 1.2 million in the last couple of years. I don't go into technology on any pitch to the investors. Post due diligence, we may get into some of the intellectual property, etc. But at the end of the day, it's about how you sell, how you market, how do you get people to download your product. It's just telling a story. So.